If you're over 40 and training for HYROX, I'm gonna challenge one of the biggest assumptions people make. Most of us think the formula is simple: train more and train harder. And I thought exactly the same, and to be fair, that approach can work until it leaves you constantly tired, stuck at the same level, and wondering why all that effort isn't paying off. For me, everything changed when I stopped asking, how can I train more? And I started asking, how much training can my body actually adapt to? And that one question helped me take 5 minutes off my HYROX time, 7 minutes off my doubles, and finally broke the cycle of constantly feeling beaten up after training and getting injured. Let me take you back to where that shift started. To prepare for my first HYROX, I bought a 12-week program from a reputable coach. And just to be clear, before I go any further, the program was actually good, just wasn't the right program for me. I followed it to the letter, but after a few weeks, my legs were constantly battered, I felt tired all the time, and despite all the work, my performances weren't improving that much. I wasn't lacking commitment, I wasn't even lacking fitness, I simply wasn't adapting to the training. And that's when it finally clicked. I didn't need more training, I needed more adaptation. Now, when I say adaptation, here's what I mean. Training doesn't actually make you fitter. Training simply creates the opportunity for your body to become fitter. The improvements happen afterwards, when your body has recovered and adapted to the work you've done. If that adaptation never fully happens because you're constantly carrying fatigue into the next session, you're putting in lots of work without getting the full return from it. And that was exactly what was happening to me. So let me ask you something. Think back to your last training week. How many sessions did you start already carrying fatigue from the previous one? Because if the answer is quite a few, there's a good chance you're not getting the full benefit from all the work you're putting in. So I completely changed the way I made my training decisions. Instead of trying to fit in as much training as possible, every decision started going through one simple filter. Can my body fully recover from this before my next key session? By the way, I put this whole framework together into a free guide called the 40+ Hybrid Efficiency Blueprint. It includes the principles behind my training, a sample of the weekly schedule I follow, and the reasoning behind it. If you'd like a copy, there's a link in the description below. Now, back to the filter. That does not mean I stopped training hard. It means I started prioritizing adaptation over accumulation. I no longer stack hard sessions on top of each other. And because recovery drives adaptation, I wanted a way to measure whether I was actually recovering. And that's why I track my HRV, to make sure I'm pushing my workouts and runs within the limits my body can actually recover from. HRV is basically an indicator of how ready my body is to work out. If it's much lower than normal, I don't skip training altogether. I still show up, but I swap that hard interval session with something that's easier on my body, and then I come back to that tougher session when my body is ready to benefit from it. Another shift I made was asking myself this simple question: what's actually limiting my HYROX performance? For me, it wasn't the stations. It was my ability to run well after the stations. So I stopped obsessing over the stations and made running the backbone of my weekly routine. Now, don't get me wrong, stations are important, but for me, especially outside a race-specific prep block, they weren't the biggest opportunity. I also shifted my focus towards improving technique, because the less energy I waste on every station, the more I have left for the run that follows. Finally, I wanted to make sure every run had a purpose. So I track my heart rate in every run to ensure my body receives exactly the stimulus I'm trying to create. No less, no more. Here's an example from one of my threshold sessions. My goal wasn't simply to run hard. It was to keep my heart rate mostly between zone 3 and 4, because that's the adaptation I was trying to create. If it shoots into zone 5, that's useful feedback. It tells me I'm working harder than I intended, so I back off slightly in my next session. I also look at how quickly my heart rate comes down between efforts, and whether it starts drifting upwards towards the end of the session. All of that tells me whether I'm getting the stimulus I wanted or just accumulating fatigue. After more than a year of feeling stuck, things finally started moving again. And if training continues to go to plan, I'm on track to take another 5 minutes off in my next race. But honestly, the biggest win isn't the PBs. Because of this new approach, I'm no longer constantly getting injured, and to me, that matters even more. If I had to simplify my whole philosophy into 3 questions, it would be these. Can I recover from this? Does this make me a better HYROX athlete? Can I measure whether it's working? Every training decision I make goes through these 3 questions. Because I come to believe that training doesn't make you fitter, adaptation does. Training simply gives your body the opportunity to adapt. And if you can consistently create adaptation, you can keep improving without constantly running yourself into the ground. So, before your next session, ask yourself one simple question. Can my body actually adapt to what I'm about to ask of it? If the answer is yes, train hard. If the answer is no, train smart. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.